for the crib.
Cambridge, I see you. The whole New York.
I know you thought I would be, baby, but you can't keep me down.
Big up to LA. Des Moines, Iowa. Louisville, I see you. We in the streets, and my passport good.
You are now rocking with DJ Repent.
Still more shout-outs. Y'all better pay attention, man. Joburg, UK, we back to the streets. Tanzania, Tokyo, Nigeria, Ghana, Jamaica, and Haiti.
I know you thought I would be, baby, but you can't keep me down. Black when my rounds at, they lost where they get found at. Pressure from your eye with a nation don't wanna show that. Keep the mumbles over that trumpet, it's like I know you clap. French is bought on my soldier rag, and that new designer I'm shining, I got a shoulder tag. When it come to drama, that Draco be looking like a staff. Put it in the sea with my enemies, it'll split in half. The world coming to an end, huh? You learned you in Israelites, you trying to tell all of your friends, huh? Them laws you can never trim, huh? You know if you get it right in the kingdom, you live again, huh? Just a couple of questions that I gotta know. Get my shine over commandments, that's how your how it glow. Put us all back on the top, where we was at before, and if the Lord looking for profit.
I say repent more than I rap, that is a fact. To me, music ain't worth more than that. I'm not attached. If you take the gospel out of these rap, it'll make it whack. Silly rappers keep on dropping the ball like they playing jacks.
Welcome to Rightly Divine the Word. And here we go. I know y'all saying, here go another one. But today we're going to talk about the voice of God versus the sound of God. And I know, most of y'all are like, Then we just go through this with William Murphy, him playing all that secular music and in the church. So many of y'all feel like this, from 2 Samuel 6, when David returned with the Ark of the Covenant and he was dancing before the people. And when he returned home, so from 2 Samuel 6:20, then David returned to bless his house. And Michal, the daughter of Saul, came out to meet David and said, how glorious was the king of Israel today, who uncovered himself today in the eyes of his handmaidens, of his servants, as one of the vain fellows shamelessly uncovered himself. Yeah, that's how y'all was feeling. Probably was feeling like that, listening to my music, Y'all like, here it is, the sound of the church. Where is it going today? We just wicked. We don't know what we're doing. So then, got this fella right here, Kirk Franklin. Many of y'all are upset with him because of the things he did. Was it the Black Gospel Music Award when he said the GOAT? And, everybody was going crazy. And, he's been gyrating a lot, dancing with other women, all this good stuff. And y'all probably felt like this. So y'all remember when David killed Uriah's wife and God said to him, and I gave thee thy master's house and thy master wives in the bosom, and gave thee the house of Israel of Judah. And if that had been too little, I would moreover have given unto thee such and such things. So God is saying here, look, if you wanted more, I would have given you more. But you went about it the wrong way. If you wanted more, I would have given you more. So we're going to go forward because God continued. He said, wherefore hast thou despised the commandments of the Lord to do evil in his sight? Thou hast killed Uriah the Hittite with the sword and hast taken his wife to be thy wife and hast slain him with the sword of the children of Ammon. And many of y'all feel just like that the way of the church today and the way it's going with all this secular music, like clubs in the church, that we have gone astray. We are gone astray. But I'm here to tell you today, the sound of the church should change over time. The sound of the church should change over time. So what do you mean? If you all don't know about church history, in the early church, musical instruments were forbidden. And especially on the John Calvin, they only sung hymns, but he definitely forbade musical instruments for being in part of the worship service. The Catholic Church also, and the Catholic Church to this day still has very little music in their service. But I'm here to tell you today, ears change over time, and the sound of the church should change over time because ears change over time. What do I mean? The music that I listen to today is not the same music that my parents listened to, and the music that my parents listened to wasn't the same music that their parents listened to. Therefore, the sound of the church should not mimic what they did 100, 500, 1,000 years ago, because ears change over time. And the way I worship should reflect my community. So, and you'll think, well, that's conforming to, no, it's not conforming to the world. I think it's a greater disservice to have people from different cultural backgrounds try to worship like you. Try to worship like you. So, still giving you an example. If you can see here, we got all these classical artists, Johann Sebastian Bach. We have Beethoven, Chopin, many others here. And guess what? Many of y'all young cats don't even know who they are. And if you did hear, the Fifth Symphony or whatnot, you wouldn't know if it was from Bach, was it from Beethoven? You wouldn't have a clue. You would think, who cares? Who knows? Because that doesn't move you. That doesn't move you. And therefore, music is supposed to be an experience that moves us. And it's okay if we worship to reflect our community. I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. No problems, no issues. I have no issues with the worship reflecting the community of which it is. I don't think I should worship like somebody over in Japan, how they worship. I don't think, even from my demographics, from my neighborhood, because like I said, in the 30s and 40s, when Black folks introduced drums or whatnot into the church service, the worship service, man, white folks were going crazy. They thought we was demonic. How could we? They thought we was doing bad things by introducing secular music. You got those drums, you got those beats, you got those, but y'all forget, people don't remember that, but actual grandparents, they didn't like that. But what you all don't realize is that what you think is evil, God can take to use for his good. So I'm going to give you an example of that. So Judges 6, this is Gideon. Judges 6, and we're going to start at verse 25. And listen to what it said here. And it came to pass the same night that the Lord said unto him, meaning Gideon, take thy father's young bullock, even the second bullock of 7 years old, and throw down the altar of Baal that thy father had. See, Gideon's father had erected an altar to Baal, which is an idol. And God said, throw down the altar of Baal that thy father had and cut down the grove that is by it. And then check out what God said in verse 26, immediately after that. Build an altar unto the Lord thy God upon the top of this rock. In the same place that they just tore down the altar of Baal, he said, in that same spot, you're going to build me an altar. And then he said, in the ordered place, take the second bullock and a burnt sacrifice with the wood of the grove which thou shalt cut down. And he's saying the wood that was a part of the altar, I want you to use that same wood to build my altar. See, God didn't care about the wood. He cared about what the wood represented, which was the idol. So he said, cut the idol down, but I'm going to recycle, I'm going to refurbish the wood. I'm not going to throw the wood away. I'm going to use that same wood. And y'all still don't get it. And you still don't get it. But let me give you one more. So y'all remember David when he was a little boy, when he went up against Goliath. So 1 Samuel 17, verse 51, and this is what David did. Therefore David ran and stood upon the Philistine, which was Goliath, and took his sword. That don't mean David took his sword. David didn't have a sword. David had a rock and a sling. And he took his sword and threw it out and drew it out of the sheath thereof and slew him. See, David took his enemy's weapon and slayed him with his own weapon. And he slew him and cut off his head therein. And when the Philistines saw their champion was dead, they fled. David didn't say, I can't use this sword because that's your sword. He said, no, I'm going to take your sword and I'm going to kill you with your own sword. See, God don't care about the sound. He don't care about it. He can use whatever weapon, whatever instrument for his good. Because a lot of people, they won't get on the internet. They say that's of the devil. But as we know on YouTube, many good, sound, solid teachers are using the internet for God's good. And you remember before COVID, a lot of the big time preachers admonished people for being on YouTube, saying they was internet preachers. You know, they couldn't make it in the big time. But when COVID hit, from Creflo Dollar to Jesse Duplantis, from James White to John MacArthur, they all said during the time of COVID, their church made their biggest profits or biggest amount of money during the time because they all went to the internet. The thing that they hated or said was a work of the devil, they turned around and used it for God's good. See, God don't care about the instrument. He cares how you use the instrument. And some of you all still don't get it, still saying, well, he shouldn't have did that. Hey, I'm in agreement that where William Murphy went wrong was he actually played the lyrics. He played the lyrics of the secular music in a place designed for worship. That was the problem, but there is a time and a place for everything. But that wasn't the place for that at that moment. All right. But so remember, this is the sound of the church. And as I stated, the sound of the church should change to reflect the community of which it serves. So there should be an expectation that over time, the sound of the church will change and should change, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not the problem. Here's the problem. So let's start with Revelation 3:20. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice, Jesus saying, hear his voice, and open the door, I will come into him, and he will sup with me, and he with me. So here's what I'm going to tell you, because today, in 2024, a lot of big time pastors, preachers, bishops, whatever you want to call them, are being exposed. And a lot of people are saying, especially from their community, like there's demonic attack, but they don't understand God is in the business of exposing. And really it ain't even about the man himself. Actually, he's in the business of exposing them to show the parishioners, the congregation, the church, that you are idol worshiping, that you put these people up on pedestals and you're worshiping them and not paying attention to the voice. So God don't care about the man per se. So I'm not saying God don't care about it because Jesus died for us. All right. But what God cares about is his word. And I'm going to tell you how important his word is. So from Psalms 12:6-7, the words of the Lord are pure words as silver tried in a furnace of earth, purified 7 times. Thou shalt keep them, meaning thou shalt keep his words. O Lord, thou shalt preserve them, meaning that God will preserve his word from this generation forever. So God is in the business of preserving his word. He don't care about the man in which given the word. Only thing he cares about is the preservation of his word. But in my previous lesson, as I was telling you all, we're looking at the things that look godly, that sounds wise, that think is godly, but it's antithetical, not in the Bible. That's all that means. Unbiblical. It's not in the Bible. It totally going against the things of Christ. But because of the appearance, because of the size, because of the likes, because of all these things, we're thinking it's good. But in reality, we ain't listening to the word. We listening to the sounds. And then so when you hear something that's foreign, like I say, I play Christian rap pretty much in all my music because I am of a generation when I came up in the infancy of hip hop. And my dad and my mom is an evangelist. My dad is a pastor. So I grew up in the church. But guess what? Gospel music didn't move me. Gospel music never moved me, And in the early 2000s, you know, Christian hip hop, when it first started coming out, it was booty. It was straight. It was no teaching. They was doing the same things, promoting prosperity and all that by big cards and all this. It was booty. So I couldn't listen to that. But gospel music never really moved me. You know, just didn't. So about 2 years ago, I discovered Kingdom Music and I started to listen. I'm like, man, they're spewing a lot of Bible verses correctly than they do in what we call traditional Christian music or temporary Christian music today. That the lyrics in the Christian raps, and I'm not saying all of them, but the ones that you hear on mine, if you listen to them, they spewing facts. They on point. And I was like, wow, God is giving me something that I can enjoy that is of my community. Because like I said, I grew up in the infancy of rap. I listen to hip hop all the time. I still like Tupac. I still like Biggie. So what? So let me tell you how important his word is again. So Isaiah 40, verse 8, the grass withered, the flowers faded, but the word of our God shall stand forever. See, here again, God don't care about the person giving the word. Only thing he cares about if we are giving the word. And if you don't know what the word says, if you don't pick up your book to see what the word says, you don't know what the people are telling you is a God or not. Y'all are not being Bereans. You know, the Bereans, the ones who, when Paul, the Apostle Paul came to them, they said, okay, you sounds good, but they went diligently to study the scriptures daily to see what Paul said was true. We don't do that. We go to the church, listen to whatever they spew out their mouth, and if you shout, cry, dance, or whatever you want to do, which is okay, I'm okay with that, but there ain't no word being given. They're going to promise you 3 houses by the end of the year. Oh, wow, I love that tickling your ears. You think that's fine, and it's found nowhere in the word. Nowhere. But y'all say that was a good message in trying to do this to bring the culture bring the culture into the church, but in actuality, the church is transforming into the culture. You know? But I'm going to end with this. Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. See, God don't, like I'm going to say it again, God don't care about the William Murphys, the T.D. Jakes, the T.B. Joshuas. He don't care about the James Whites. He don't care about Leighton Flowers. He don't care about any of that. All he cares about is the preservation of his word, and that we who say we're ministers, that we give his word. Because it's the gospel that saves. It's Jesus that saves. It is the word. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Jesus literally means Yahweh is salvation. Yahweh is deliverance. We need to learn how to listen to his word, to what it's really about. But we concerned about sounds. We concerned about all these other things. And we're not paying attention to his word. People, I'm going to tell you this. Ain't nothing wrong with the church. The church is okay. The church is going to be okay. Despite popular belief. Why do I know that? Because I know he's coming back for his church, for his bride. So I don't worry. I don't worry too much. So I'm going to end with this. Matthew 11:15. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. He that have ears to hear, let him hear. So hopefully you all get the message. And peace.
Father, I sinned.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
Over and
mercy, have mercy on me.
Have mercy.
I'm begging you to wash me clean.
Make me new, yeah.
Living without you ain't worth it.
It ain't worth it at all.
When I don't feel your presence, I get nervous.
Man, I feel wild.
Here's my heart purging, and I know that I deserve it, but whatever.